We are the Taso Foundation, a national women's fund, women's rights movement and philanthropic organisation since 1998. Until 2006, we worked as the Open Society Georgia Women's Programme. Open Society Georgia is one of the oldest philanthropic organisations in Georgia. After the 2008 war, we were forced to engage in a totally different type of work. Many people found themselves in need of charity from us, and all of society came and provided refugees with solidarity and help in their time of extreme need. Philanthropy is about doing everything to ensure against the needs of charity, to ensure against wars and disasters, against having street children, homeless elderly persons, or the extremely needy. This is what philanthropy is about. Towards this, consistent work and financing should be directed. That is, giving money and also volunteering. In other words, giving your knowledge and time. This is what philanthropy is about. By definition, philanthropy implies a love of people. This is not enough today. Practical steps are also necessary to improve the lives of people in general, especially those people who need it more than others. When we say that charity is one of the forms of philanthropy, we may cite the following comparison. While charity means helping a human being directly, philanthropy implies healing the problem itself.
Living in society where the people are free, at the same time requires to understand that we have also mutual responsibility. Strengthening empathy, strengthening mutual understanding is generally one of the ways how to improve society and how to increase the ability to understand also the other cultures.
Civil society assumes the responsibility to act as a mediator. It is the initial recipient who subsequently allocates these benefits. Civil society is well aware of the problems, being a member of the social environment, the community where it works. It knows what the problems are, raises these problems in communication with donors and philanthropists. These philanthropic funds are used in different directions. It may be education, awareness raising, creation of new workplaces, or legislative amendments. In other words, philanthropic funds are spent to solve all of these problems that we are working on. We will have a civil society in Georgia. We will be its representatives as organizations, and we will find it easy to fulfill its requests because our society will assist us by means of its philanthropic contribution, which implies paying membership fees, donations, and participation in volunteering as well. Without participation in volunteering and contributions from society, we will never achieve the result for which we have worked for so many years.
Especially very often at Christmas, families will often decide together, what they want to support. Do they want to help out education or, people with medical difficulties, and, they'll make a decision. So rather than just, people standing on the side of the street taking coins, there's also that as well. But it'll often be a family decision together and sort of a learning experience for parents and children and brothers and sisters together.
Through our church, every summer we send a team to Guatemala, and these are medical missions. So we take doctors and nurses, dentists, pharmacists, and they hold a free clinic for the Native Americans, the Maya Indians who live there. So for a whole week, people can come to the clinic and get medical care, get dental work, get medicine, etc. And then we also built a clinic in a town that had no clinic at all. And also now we're helping them build houses. The quality of housing is very bad. So this to me is a really good example of a philanthropic activity. And we like activities where we're involved, not just giving money. But in fact, I asked the director of this program in Guatemala one time, I said, Joanne, you know, we have to buy plane tickets, we have to pay for hotels. Wouldn't it be better if we just gave you that money and then you would have more money to do your activities here? And she said, absolutely no. That these people that we're helping want to know that we're involved and that we care about them personally, and that she said, no, you have to come here. You can't just send money. So that makes it a really valuable, rewarding experience for us, to know that we're really helping people that need help.
At first, people were skeptical about our initiative and our organization. They would often say we were wasting our time, that we had nothing else to do. Many people made fun of us and would not recognize the importance of our work. Nonetheless, we were never dependent on their views. On the contrary, we were convinced that in due time, they would wind up in our ranks, and we were right. Today, our organization has over 200 volunteers, not only in the village of Leliani, but other villages in Lagodehi municipality. We succeeded in activating the local population and showing them ways to solve their own problems. When you lead a group, you must be the one who shows an example to others. We believe that we have created an environment, a large house for the whole village. Firstly, a volunteer has to realize he wants to be a volunteer. It's very difficult to give up your job, leave your family and friends, and give yourself 100% to other people otherwise. I was thinking a lot about this, and I decided that the biggest sense of my life is an opportunity to help other people. We don't have any salary for our job, and we don't need any, in fact, because the biggest satisfaction is to observe the effects and the progress of what we do. We would really like to leave something in Tbilisi village. In my opinion, volunteering is the best form of helping. We are not getting money, but we're getting something better, the joy of helping people. I could do this my whole life. I don't need much money in my life. Of course, I would like to have a normal job, but I will never resign from being a volunteer because it's in my nature. I get an inner joy from this. We are the state. Government is structures and institutions which must fulfill our requests, at least in a democratic state. A need to ensure democratic development and stable peace does not only exist in such a state, it must be recognized by the authorities as well. This recognition must be stipulated in legislation that will enable activists and organizations working to achieve democracy, social justice and stable peace to carry out their work in a consistent manner. This ability must be expressed through legislation.
For that, in Slovakia we had a quite good experience with so-called 1% legislation. We have a law which is now in existence more than 10 years, I think, about so-called 2%. Mm-hmm. That means that every taxpayer may donate, decide to which NGO 1% of his or her taxes will be transferred. We have a system that the NGOs register themselves to be eligible, to show that they are operating in a fair practice, and by these mechanisms the taxpayers may decide to whom they want to give their support. It led to a huge increase of the individuals supporting the civil society, but much more important than the money is the side effect of that the people are educated about the importance of taxes in society, and when they realize that where is going their 1%, they start to ask, okay, but what is happening with other 99%? And they start to understand how the society is functioning, what is the importance of the different issues which are supported by society. We have nice examples that for some small NGOs in the regions, in villages, these mechanisms brings maybe half of their budget in the villages. Of course, these mechanisms is not equally distributed to all NGOs. Some are very successful, some are not so successful, but they learned that they have to respond not to big foundations in the capital or to foreign donors, but they need to respond and to persuade their neighbors about the reason of their existence. So they focus much more energy to explain to the public, to the closest community, why they are existing.
One of the reasons why in the US they have such high rates of charitable giving is because of the tax code. The tax code encourages people to give away parts of their money to organizations that they care about. So an organization can get tax-free status, and people do that, and it's an important part of what people do.
If we give money to a charitable organization, then we can deduct that money from our income tax. So it means, in practical terms, it means that if I gave $100 to somebody, with the tax benefits, it really only costs me about $50. So it still costs me money, but the tax situation makes it more attractive. It also means that we can give more money and do more good. So instead of giving $100, we could give $200, and it would only cost us $100. So and that works for any nonprofit organization. So if we give money to our church, we can take it from our taxes. If we give money to Habitat for Humanity, we can deduct that. Even our expenses of going to Guatemala, we can deduct that because it's a charitable activity.
I think that's particularly important in a place like Georgia, where coming from the Soviet Union, where there was lots of cheating and chalichi, that the presumption is by the tax office that everybody is cheating in their taxes. And there's a big history of people cheating in their taxes now. Now the tax rate, it's going up and people tend to pay their taxes and things like that. But it's important that the government can guarantee to somebody, okay, if this is said to be an organization that's doing good work, it really is honest, they're being transparent, it's open for everybody to see what they're doing with the money, because now that money just comes from donors. And if it comes from the Americans and the European Union or something like that, I mean, okay, it's their problem if the money is being well spent. But if that money is also coming from Georgian families, then it becomes the Georgian government's responsibility to make sure that money is being fairly and honestly spent for the good of the Samshoglo.
The government, the NGO sector, and the population itself remain divided to this day. They are somewhat separated, so it is necessary for the government to provide better legislation. The NGO sector, that is civil society, should show more responsibility and transparency, while society must engage more actively so that we may achieve progress in our work.
წინ წავიდეთ შემდგომ მუშაობაში.
Together with representatives from 30 organizations and experts, Taso Foundation has developed a legislative bill, Law of Georgia on Philanthropy, Charity and Social Partnership, on the initiative of Ms. Guguli Mahradze and Mr. Zviad Kvachantiradze. On July 25, 2013, the bill was presented to the Parliament of Georgia for consideration. Should the bill be adopted and enacted, it will allow civil society organizations to work in an uninterrupted and consistent manner towards ensuring social justice and peace building while carrying out charitable activities. Citizens of Georgia and commercial organizations, philanthropists and benefactors will volunteer to engage in the cause of democracy building. An open electronic registry of civil society organizations will be launched, and the accountability of these organizations before the population of Georgia will improve. Every employer will be able to volunteer to donate 1% of their income taxes to support an organization of their choice. Donations made by phone will reach their recipients in full without any taxation. The development of social entrepreneurship will be supported, and employment opportunities will increase. Self-government will be authorized to issue grants to support the work of local organizations, while community philanthropy will develop. The contribution of volunteers to social justice and peace building will increase. Commercial organizations will be entitled to issue grants to support philanthropic or charitable activities.